Hello everybody. For this video, I would like to discuss how to recover from self-harm behavior. Let's begin. First of all, what is self-harm? So before we go in, let's discuss that. For some people, when in a tornado of emotion or whenever feeling completely numb, they will turn to self-harm, looking for a sort of release. It'll be in the form of self-harm or self-injury, and any forms of hurting oneself on purpose. Usually, when people do self-harm, they do not do it as a suicide attempt, but rather they do it as a way to release painful emotions. What else can self-harm look like? A lot of times it has a little bit more of a narrow spectrum whenever the word comes up because our mind immediately draws conclusions. But self-harm doesn't always look like physically hurting oneself. It can also look like misusing substances, overeating or undereating, self-isolating, or intentionally getting into dangerous situations where they know they can get hurt, whether it's emotionally or physically. There are some steps toward recovering from self-harm. Breaking away from that cycle can, however, feel like a huge climb because it involves breaking a habit that has once brought comfort from pain. But it's not impossible at all. It is very much possible. So I'm going to go over some steps to set you up to success and on a realm where you can do consistent practice until the self-harm behaviors are no longer something you need to turn to. Number 1, you want to name your reason for hurting yourself and your reason for quitting. You start that off by asking yourself, what do I feel before, during, and after self-injury? So you do a little bit of a mental and emotional assessment with that. Which of those emotions do you actively seek out and which are harmful? How might you feel better by quitting this behavior? You can ask yourself a sequence of those questions and genuinely sit with yourself to bridge the gap from where you are and where you want to be. Number 2, identify other ways of achieving the same results. So if you self-harm for the physical sensation or seek other ways of releasing endorphins, like exercise, you can do that. If you self-harm to express your emotions, practice expressing them with art or with writing. Number 3, tackle the underlying emotions. So as you're kind of journaling, as you're asking yourself these questions and you're sitting down with yourself about them, if you explore the feelings that lead you to want to hurt yourself, if it's guilt, where is that guilt coming from? Consider finding a therapist or a trusted friend to explore those deep feelings with as well. That can help mirror back and give you some sort of space to reflect and answer your own questions. Number 4 is to tell someone you trust. So opening up to people can be easier said than done, of course, but a place to start is saying, I'm having a hard time processing some painful emotions and I could use your support right now. And maybe that can open up a conversation, that can open up someone keeping an eye on you and accountability with you and your road to recovery. That can help you brainstorm and that can help you not deal with things completely alone. It is also important for me to address the fact that while self-harm and suicide ideation aren't necessarily interlinked, it can still correlate. Or self-harm behavior can be taken a little further to where it puts that person in danger. So if it's in a crisis, if there's ever anything that crosses any sort of line, or the emotions that are initially driving that behavior are at an all-time high, please realize that you are never alone. Help is always available. You can always call the suicide prevention or crisis hotline at 988. They shorten their number now, so it's a lot easier to communicate with them. And for immediate free support or just someone to talk to 24/7 as well, and you prefer through text, you can also contact the crisis text line by texting coalition to 741-741. You can also text home to 741-741, and they're always available. But if there are circumstances where neither of those feel viable and immediate care is required, if you or a friend need urgent assistance, please call 911 immediately. I hope this video could be a little bit more helpful in guiding towards ending the cycle of self-harm. Wherever this may find you, I hope you have a great mental health day.